Still looking at me.
And what's going on, Mighty Gang and Nightwish Army? It's the Multitasker, and welcome back into another reaction. And you already know the fact I do watch NXT and AEW on Wednesday nights. And I'm pretty sure you're going to say, which side do I have to be on? Or where's your allegiance to? Here's the thing. It's neither. I'm considered as a neutral guy, just enjoy watching both wrestling brands. Hell, if it makes it feel any better, I do watch a little bit of the Ohio Valley wrestling too. And yes, this is basically it's a trend between WWE and AEW, especially like, you know, a throwback of the old days of WWF and WCW. Go figure. But we already know that there are most of the recognizable faces from WWE that moved to AEW. But now we get to the topic of there are 10 AEW wrestlers that you didn't know work for WWE. So there are some names that I'm already aware of, but there are some that I didn't know about this. So this is going to be an interesting tidbit for this video. And without further ado, it's time to react.
While AEW has strong WWE roots with the presence of stars like Cody, Goldust, Chris Jericho, and others, we also know that a lot of producers that AEW have are cast-offs from WWE like Arn Anderson and Billy Gunn. However, when one company dominated wrestling for so long, there are bound to be many top-tier talents that have had a bit-part role in the massive company. AEW has a group full of them, and are proving how WWE missed the boat with these talents. This is Wrestling Hub, and here are the 10 AEW superstars that you forgot appeared on WWE.
Oh, okay. Either way, Luchasaurus, yeah.
Luchasaurus has inadvertently become one of the top rising prospects in the young AEW promotion. His tandem with Jungle Boy is one of the most exciting on the roster, which has been bolstered by the addition of Marco Stunt. Luchasaurus will be making his way up the AEW card slowly along with his partners and has shown the capability of being positioned as a single star too. However, he has a strong connection to WWE's history, which many may be unaware of. Judas Devlin was his WWE name, and he was one of the many stars to be a part of the establishing of the modern day NXT. He was one of the FCW talents which became NXT talents, but Devlin never appeared on NXT TV, so how is his connection with WWE worth anything more than a footnote in his career? Well, Luchasaurus and Brandon Traven had publicized complaints submitted to WWE's internal management against head trainer Bill DeMott in 2013. This became relevant in 2015 when several other former NXT stars came out in public against the harsh treatments of DeMott's training style, which included using racist slurs and homophobic ones while physically abusing or violating trainees. Luchasaurus' standing within WWE was hurt by him voicing his concerns against DeMott publicly. While it wasn't the reason behind his 2014 release, he became one of the first few voices to come out against Bill DeMott, who eventually left WWE because of the allegations against him.
Well, that makes sense. Ouch.
Leva Bates is one of the few aspects of AEW's programming which seems to have completely failed in the first few months of the company putting on shows. Leva Bates' character as the librarian alongside Peter Avalon just hasn't made any impact, with many fans criticizing AEW for the poor usage of the wrestler, who is very talented inside the ropes. Her stints at Shimmer and Shine Wrestling have been remarkable, so her talent has been undeniable. Similarly to how AEW is musing the star right now, WWE did it in the past. Bates wrestled for NXT from 2014 to 2015. WWE clearly never had any big plans for her, giving her the ring name Blue Pants. However, Bates bought into the character and started performing to her fullest.
That's a terrible
This led
name.
to her becoming massively over at WWE house shows, even though she was one of the jobbers. Bates was never under a WWE contract, yet had some impressive moments. She was a manager for the Vaudevillains at NXT Brooklyn too, and she made multiple appearances on NXT TV, being in segments and matches with Big Cass and Enzo Amore, Alexa Bliss, and Nia Jax.
Oh, Big Swole. Oh yeah, I remember
Big
that
Swole
name.
is one of the brightest sparks in AEW's women's division right now. While the division is still growing and relatively lackluster, the ascension of stars like Riho and Swole is expected to make the division stronger, with the likes of Awesome Kong providing a veteran influence in the locker room. Swole does not have to have an illustrious wrestling past, being relatively unknown throughout her career. However, prior to AEW, she got her big moments in WWE. Swole wrestled as Arielle Monroe for WWE on multiple occasions. One of her earliest efforts for the company came in a squash match against Nia Jax on Raw in 2016.
Yeah,
she then returned to the company 2 years
now
later
it's coming
and
back to me.
wrestled
That
as
was
a part of
that
the
was
Mae
back
Young
in
Classic
2018.
2018. She lost her first round match to Zeus's. She made a big impression nonetheless, as her Joker-inspired attire was a talking point to Spider-Loss. She is also married to WWE superstar Cedric Alexander, another star who entered the company through impressive performances on WWE Network tournaments.
Scorpio Sky.
Scorpio Sky is one of the most accomplished independent wrestlers in the entire world. It is only fitting that he is in a faction with Frankie Kazarian and Christopher Daniels, two other extremely accomplished independent stars. But Sky couldn't stay independent for his entire career, embarking upon a year-long stint in WWE in 2013, where he made a big impact in a relatively short time. Sky's debut in WWE and the way he left were both notable. Sky debuted as Harold in the anger management lesson segments that Kane and Daniel Bryan had while they were teaming up as Team Hell No. He never made an in-ring appearance, and we can never know if he was ever planned to. He was released from WWE, and the company cut their ties with him after he made homophobic comments on Twitter. Despite this, Sky made another appearance for the company, appearing as a fireman in the SummerSlam 2013 Inferno match between Bray Wyatt and Kane.
Ricky Kazarian. Oh.
Kazarian is one of the most decorated independent wrestlers right now, but that is something we have already talked about. He's been wrestling since 1998 and has been all over the planet. Like Sky did before him, that also means that Kazarian had to make a stop at WWE at least once over the course of his career. He made that stop in 2005, and boy did he regret it. Kazarian left Impact Wrestling in 2005 to join WWE's developmental territory OVW. Considering what Kazarian managed to achieve in Impact over the course of his career, we can only imagine how much greater his accomplishments would have been if he hadn't left for a year and joined the WWE. Kazarian intended on becoming one of the centerpieces of WWE's dying cruiserweight division. He worked a series of matches on Velocity, going on a win streak by defeating Nunzio, Scotty 2 Hotty, and Paul London. However, after realizing the cruiserweight division was going nowhere, Kazarian left the company.
Damn.
We finally get to the third member of SCU, and probably the most decorated of them all. Christopher Daniels would have been a massive star in WWE if he actually ended up being in the company for a significant amount of time, which may have been similar to that of his best friend AJ Styles. Daniels is currently on AEW TV as a member of SoCal Uncensored with Kazarian and Sky. Daniels is always a looming threat to the main event, and his presence greatly legitimizes the validity of the AEW roster. Daniels is the only wrestler in the world to have wrestled for WCW, NJPW, AEW, ROH, TNA, AAA, CMLL, Chikara, and of course, WWE. Daniels wrestled for WWE in 1998. He returned to WWE after the dissolution of WCW, as he was a WCW roster member. Daniels would go on to lose to the likes of Jerry Lynn before departing. He also made appearances in 1998, signing a developmental deal with the company. He also left for WCW at some point before returning.
Damn. Aubrey Edwards.
Aubrey Edwards is not a wrestler, but has become one of the most prominent faces in AEW. Like how Charles Robinson emerged as a star in WCW while being a referee, Aubrey Edwards has done the same for herself in AEW, but in a different niche. She's a woman in a male-dominated field of wrestling, and has excelled whenever given massive opportunities. Edwards' strong hand while reffing a game, including the control she exerts, adds an extra layer of psychology, making her more of a factor in these matches. No pointless ref bumps will befall Audrey, for sure. Considering how well she has done in AEW, it is surprising that WWE never signed Aubrey to a deal when she was working for them in NXT. NXT is a talent factory, and the work done there is massively appreciated. So how could they let someone like Aubrey through the cracks? Well, that is unknown. But after her work on the Mae Young Classic and occasional NXT tapings, WWE just never chose to extend a full-time contract to her.
That sucks, and she definitely has some balls. Kenny Omega.
Kenny Omega became the face of non-WWE wrestling after other wrestlers that carry that banner like AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, and Samoa Joe joined the company in the mid-2010s. Omega just entered the new decade on a side as opposite as it gets. Omega serves as executive vice president for the upstart promotion that is AEW, and turned down millions from WWE when he served as a free agent before forming AEW. However, like something that has become a theme in this list, most talent that have been considered the best superstars outside WWE serve at least some time in the company, and Kenny Omega is another one of them. While Omega did turn down a minimum of 5 reported offers from WWE in 2014, 2015, and 2019, he was under contract in 2005. Omega was on a developmental deal and chose to leave the company after being unhappy at how he was treated by the likes of Bill DeMott and trainer Bob Holly.
Which makes sense. Why?
The Young Bucks could have been massive stars in WWE if only the company could have known the potential that these two brothers had. The Bucks were essentially the catalyst behind uniting Kenny Omega and Cody during their time in Japan, a union which was the driving force behind the creation of AEW. The Young Bucks have wrestled in promotions like TNA and ROH too, but they will likely be the figureheads of AEW going forward. The Bucks have been seen on WWE TV multiple times. They had a few years at the end of the 2000s that included them making small appearances across their shows. This included Matt Jackson getting squashed by the Big Show in a Last Man Standing match, and the brothers cosplaying as DX in front of John Morrison and The Miz on ECW, before the Dirt Sheet duo took them out. Matt had another solo appearance for WWE, in which he got squashed by Chuck Palumbo. How the times change in the world of wrestling.
Number 1. Oh my god. I had a feeling they're going to bring this up.
Wrestlers do appear under different names across the world, but the wrestler remains the same. I argue that Jon Moxley and Dean Ambrose should be separated, and years before Jon Moxley was Dean Ambrose, he was going by his current ring name in promotions like CZW. The same rough and tumble Moxley has returned in his matches in Japan and for AEW now, as compared to the very tame Dean Ambrose, who was a lunatic because he used hot dog carts as weapons. Mox had his first ever stint with the company in 2006 when he wrestled in 3 matches on Velocity and Heat. He teamed up with Dean Taylor, the one-man Kenny Omega,
those were the early years. I do now. I'm starting to remember.
Joey Mercury and John Morrison. While competing on these shows, he would also lose to Big Show and Val Venus. He did return to the company in 2011, yet he was rechristened as Dean Ambrose, and we never got to see Jon Moxley again. It is fitting that we stick to the Moxley character and look at Dean Ambrose differently, as the genesis and body of work for both characters are vastly different. And these were 10 AEW superstars that you forgot appeared on WWE. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching Wrestling Hub, and I'll see you later in the next video.
Well, and that's the whole reason why that he basically killed Dean Ambrose and reborns as Jon Moxley. Yep. It makes total sense. But Audrey, though, I did not know that she was a referee during the time of the Mae Young Classics. I mean, clearly, they should have gotten her a sweet deal. But obviously that's their loss, and now she's mostly appearing on most of the matches on AEW, and she's really good. Very professional and got some balls. And yes, I'm aware about Kenny of his background. Bullet Club. Yeah. Well, that was an interesting Shadow, and thank you. At least now I will try to memorize all this. And unfortunately, this is where I'm going to call it in a night. But if you enjoyed this, let's leave it a likes and also leave a comments down below if you enjoy this interesting clip that basically, explains a lot, because no offense, but Bill is a shitbag. I mean, a total asshole, and good riddance, we don't have to see his face again. But I'll catch y'all in the next video. So take care, guys.